The 49ers quarterback had an unfortunate run-in at a recent game which resulted in a season-ending surgery. The shocking news was revealed by the team's coach, Kyle Shanahan, and it's got us all worried. And of course, it's also left the team in a state of jeopardy. In today's video, we'll be telling you all about the player's injury and how the team feels about their loss. Stay tuned to get to know all the recent updates. First up, let's see what's going on. In a game against the Seahawks, the 49ers quarterback, Trey Lance, suffered a pretty bad injury that resulted in a broken ankle. Even though his team was able to snatch a 27-7 win over the Seattle Seahawks, the day didn't end on a happy note for Lance. In the first quarter, as the player was running with the ball in the middle of the field, he was subjected to a pretty brutal tackle. Things basically went downhill when he decided to hang on to the ball for a bit longer rather than throwing it off to the receiver, Ray McLeod. And well, during the tackle, the quarterback was literally sandwiched between two players of the Seahawks, causing the opposing defender to land on Lance's right ankle in a pretty awkward manner. The poor guy's foot was obviously contorted. Yikes! That must have been extremely painful. His injury happened within about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock for the first quarter. The quarterback remained on the field for quite some time as he was unable to walk. Lance had to be driven off the field in a cart, and the poor player was visibly in pain. The incident caused multiple players from both teams to gather around him as his leg was placed in an air cast. Moving on, here's what happened next. With their star quarterback off the field, Jimmy Garoppolo took over, and he did one heck of a job, leading his team to a massive win. That's some great news for the team, but seems like Lance's string of bad luck didn't end there. Last Sunday, the team released a statement on the San Francisco 49ers Twitter account regarding the incident, and it was announced that the player will be undergoing surgery that'll keep him from participating in the upcoming matches of the season. Tough luck for the number 3 pick in 2021's draft. We're certain that this isn't how he hoped to begin his second year as the team's quarterback, but well, fate isn't always our friend. Moving on, how's Lance doing now? Well, we've got some good news for all Trey Lance fans. The quarterback is already on his way to complete recovery. The player announced that he'd gone through a successful surgery on his right ankle. The procedure took place on Monday morning at Stanford Hospital. The doctor's report revealed that he'd in fact endured 2 injuries on his ankle, a fibula fracture and a ligament disruption. The player was mindful of the worrisome fans and team members he left behind, so he was quick to post updates on his social media accounts. In fact, he even managed to post a picture of himself laying on a hospital bed. And even though his right ankle was covered in a cast, the smile on his face was more than enough to let us know that things were going to be okay. In a heartfelt tweet, Lance wrote that he was immensely thankful for all the kind messages and prayers. He also said that he was ready to attack this rehab process and that he'll be back better than ever. He ended the tweet by saying, "This chapter is going to make the story even greater." Well, with such a positive message, the player has definitely managed to get our spirits up. He should definitely keep motivational speaking in mind as a backup career. Up next, let's see what his team had to say about the incident. We can't imagine the horror the team went through when they saw their teammate lying helpless on the field, unable to move. After gaining a victory against the Seattle Seahawks, the players and coaches all said that they knew immediately that his injury was very serious. But hopefully, the comments made by the 49ers team physician, Dr. Tim McAdams, would bring them hope. He said that he was confident that the player will recover completely in time for a full return in the 2023 season. Well, we sure would miss him this year, but hopefully, this time would be enough for him to undergo proper rehabilitation. Many of Lance's team members even went to visit him in the hospital, and reports suggest that Coach Shanahan will soon be making his way there as well. And about his rehab process, even though nothing has been set yet, it's expected that Lance will be heading to the Bay Area so that he can be around the team. Shanahan said that he wants the player to be a part of everything, especially the meeting. He even went on to say, "Whenever Lance isn't taking care of his ankle, we plan on him being with us." Well, it's really good to see that they want him to be involved in every process so that he's all caught up before the 2023 season begins. Now, let's tell you what Nick Bosa had to say. The team's defensive end, Nick Bosa, went through a similar injury in the second week of the 2020 season, where he ended up tearing the ACL in his left knee. Bosa was present to offer all the tips to the quarterback to help him get better pretty soon. When speaking to the media, Bosa said that it was the worst part of the game and nothing could be done to reverse it now. Well, we hope that the advice he offered Lance was a bit more positive than that. Lastly, it seems like Lance isn't the only injured Niner. Interestingly, Lance wasn't the only Niner who suffered an ankle injury in Sunday's game. Turns out that the rookie running back, Tyrion Davis-Price, ended up getting a high ankle sprain, which the team didn't know know about until a couple days after the game. Yikes! Looks like he might be joining Lance in the recovery process, as it's expected the Price won't be returning to the season anytime soon. Well, at least they won't be lonely. That's all we have for Trey Lance's season-ending ankle injury. Now, let's catch you up with everything else that's been going on in the world of the NFL. Here's some other news for you. First, here's what we learned from Week 1 of the NFL's 2022 season. The first week of the NFL promised drama and thrills as well. That's what we got. With many rookie players debuting with their new teams and a largely new cohort of quarterbacks, emotions are riding high. Geno Smith from the Seattle Seahawks proved that he's so much more than a backup. In fact, he's the front man. His performance closely resembled that of an NFL starter. And if this continues, who knows? He might just lead his team to the playoffs. With New York winning an opener for the first time since 2016, there's a huge chance that they might just make it to the playoffs. However, the Titans and Broncos need to put in more effort because their plays are a bit too chaotic. As for the Giants, well, they need to stop sabotaging their own games. With such a weak offense, we can't really expect them to get very far. And lastly, the Cleveland Browns might have a range of issues they need to deal with. But with Cade York, they just might hit a few of those big-time field goals. Moving on, this season hasn't been too kind to the Bengals. If their performance in the 2022 Super Bowl is to serve as a yardstick, then one would expect the Cincinnati Bengals to completely dominate the games this season. But sadly, that's not the case. With a set of young players and an amazing quarterback, yes, we're talking about Joe Burrow. One would expect them to pick up where they left off, but the team is off to a rough start. They just lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys, reaching a tie with the latter. It seems like the team needs to get in some good explosive plays downfield. Well, let's hope they get there pretty soon. Lastly, on a lighter note, Eli Manning tries out for college football. The legendary quarterback put on a wig and a mustache along with some prosthetics to try out for Penn State's football team. Using the fake name Chad Powers, the former player, along with the head coach, James Franklin, pulled a huge prank on everyone else present. During his pseudo-trial, Manning achieved a 40-yard dash time of 5.49. But this wasn't what got people's attention. Everyone actually began staring at him when he threw the ball across the training field and yelled, "Not just good looking, I can throw it, baby!" Well, no one's denying that, Chad Powers. But of course, he didn't make the cut because apparently his numbers weren't good enough, according to the coach. Well, that and the fact that he's Eli Manning. That's a wrap for this video, folks. Hope you enjoyed today's content. What are your thoughts on Trey Lance's injury? Will the 49ers be able to play well without him? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more awesome videos like this. See you in the next one with the latest updates.